and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Hey everyone, this is Kit Cabello with Hard Lens Media. You may have noticed that there's a couple of changes. Yeah, we weren't lying. That brick wall wasn't real, but it's real in my heart. As some of you may know, especially looking at the live stream, this is us leaving our old studio. And again, we would not have accomplished anything without all of you, our viewers and subscribers. This channel is, again, all the hard work that we've done. I'm really humbled by everything that everyone has done for us. Seriously, subscribers, Patreon supporters, you helped us build this new studio up, or this old studio up, and now we are moving to a larger studio. And speaking of which, if you wish to help us out with our new studio, please consider being a Patreon supporter. That link is in the description box below. All right, well then, I am very proud to introduce our guest. He's been co-host on the Jimmy Dore Show. He's also been co-host with Lee Camp and Graham Elwood. He's someone who speaks truth to power, critical of the Democratic establishment, Republican establishment, corporate media. And if you see his videos on Instagram or Twitter, you know he has some funny skits too, great talking points. And hell, he even has a great show, or a mini show, where his roommates are Green Party, Libertarian, Republican, and Democrat. It's probably the perfect sitcom ever, or perfect nightmare fuel, however which way you want to look at it. Joining us here is the great Ron Placone. Ron, it's been a long time since you've been on our show. Great to have you back on. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, all things considered, and thank you for that lovely intro, and to a shout out for the political party roommates. I'll be making another one of those soon, and congratulations on the new space. I'm honored to be one of the finale guests here in the old space. So.
Yeah. We would have no one else, Ron. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's really great to have you back on, and I know that there's a lot of projects that you're working on, so I think it's fair. Like, let's make this a short question. I know that there's. I don't know unless you want to take.
You know
it away.
what? I'm gonna preempt Kit. You got a movie coming out. We got a really cool trailer. Let's all watch that really cool trailer. What do you say? And so people can find this link. I have a Kickstarter link and a Twitter link that you can get to the Kickstarter. Is that right? On your Twitter account?
It's a GoFundMe.
It's a GoFundMe,
okay.
But yeah, it is on my pinned Twitter account. And if you want to drop it in the chats, feel free. Or people can go directly to GoFundMe.com and just type in the movie name, which is Left at Wall. And that GoFundMe will come up, and they can watch the trailer there. And the trailer is also on my YouTube channel, which is just Ron Placone, and of course on Rockfin, Ron Placone, and it's my pinned tweet, which I am just at Ron Placone. So plenty of ways to find the trailer.
Perfect. Right. You guys heard him. Go check this out. Help make this happen. Let's see the trailer.
Let's check out his trailer.
I'm gonna propose.
Shut up. God, I hope Sarah says yes, man. That would be shocking. Well, the whole thing's been shocking. As an outsider, like the first time I saw you with her, I was like, you know what I mean? You look like you won a reality show. And she's, I'm happy because I didn't think there was any way this would last this long.
Thanks. I'm a writer. My more successful brother, he's on Wall Street. I don't know how it happened.
So, how is Don?
He's done.
It's Tiffany. They want to meet up tonight. Don has some exciting news.
Tell him to send the cliff notes to whogivesashit@gmail.
John, come on. He's your brother.
Not my call.
You wouldn't understand. The whole thing with Wall Street, John, is how complicated it is, okay? We're going to short sell Game Bites, but to you wouldn't understand.
You know, I bet I would.
John, I just can't anymore. Save your drama for the page. I just can't.
What are you saying?
I think we need a break.
Awesome. No girlfriend, no work, no agent. Is this rock bottom? We're gonna do a short sell. You wouldn't understand. By the way, short selling, not that difficult. In a video game store, that's a pretty safe bet. The only way that could go wrong is if...
Game Bites. We need to buy shares of it.
What? Why?
A bunch of hedgers are trying to short sell it. We all buy shares. That drives the price up. Then, when they go to pay up, it's worth more than what they paid for it. We win, they lose.
You know, they always say if you can't beat them, join them. They never say join them to beat them. Time to beat them at their own game.
You're really passionate about this.
It's personal.
We'll start buying slowly. We've got some big names involved too. By the time the markets close, should be at least double the price.
I'll be able to pay for my surgery.
I'll be able to knock out all that student loan debt.
If we pull this off, it'll only be the beginning. They'll fear us because they'll have to. You know what destroys a market?
Fear. Let's do this.
Awesome.
Looks good. So is it like we getting some Big Short influence, but also that meets wallstreetbets.com or not .com r/wallstreetbets?
Yeah, that's actually, we kind of describe it. It is an explainer film, so it's kind of like Big Short, and then the other one that I kind of compare it to is High Fidelity, because it's a lot of like guy talks to camera. I mean, obviously the plot line's a little different, but he does lose his girlfriend, so there's some cross-pollination there too. But yeah, it is loosely based on what happened with the whole Wall Street Bets thing and the GameStop stock. Again, it is not literally based off of that. It's not a documentary. It is a fictional story, but it is loosely based off that. And, it's a tale of two brothers where one brother is a struggling writer in Hollywood and the other brother is a Wall Street big shot. And they butt heads, so the writer brother, cooks that whole thing up online to get back at his Wall Street brother. So it's a fun explainer film and kind of a coming of age story, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to write. So
that's really cool. I wonder, is there like a moment somewhere in the script? Is this at the beginning of the trailer? Their older brother, the Wall Street brothers, like, you wouldn't get how complicated these things are. You wouldn't get it. Then there's maybe a spot near the end once you've successfully taken down older brother. He's like, "What do you do to me?" You wouldn't get it. It's too complicated for you to understand.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely at the end of the day, and I don't want to give like any of the story away, although it is based on something that happened in real life. So obviously, people kind of get the idea of like what's going to happen. But yeah, it is at the end of the day, it is very much focused on their relationship, and they each learn valuable life lessons. And it's it's a comedy, so it's not like necessarily heavy in any regard, but it is it's kind of like a bittersweet comedy and I guess maybe a dark comedy. So
what's really interesting in the trailer too is that when the other individuals who are right beside you are talking about what they can do with the money, the thing is, a lot of these people from GameStocks, especially when we were covering those stories, and all of us and independent media were covering those stories, the one thing that really stood out is many of the people who were anonymous were saying, "I'm doing this because of what happened to my father or my relatives in the 2008 crash," or "I am struggling with student debt," or "I have medical debt, and I'm doing this, and these bastards at Wall Street can't be allowed to keep on getting away with this." Because I think there's another lesson too, and that is corporate media portrayed the people at Wall Street Bets as the bad guy. And and yet the Wall Street tycoons as, "Oh no, we're being hacked. We don't know what's going on. The game's not being played fairly.
We're professionals. We know the industry also. What's happening? People with small
So is there going to be like a takeaway of like, look, these people at Wall Street, they had legitimate reasons to get involved, more than just being this cartoon villain that corporate media was portraying them, but more as these are people who are being screwed over by a system that never gave a crap about them in the first place."
Totally, man. I mean, and look, and just to be like total disclaimer here, this movie is not claiming to know the total anatomy of that Reddit room. It is very broad. There are all kinds of different people. By no means are we saying that this is a total representation. It's again, fictional story. But there were a lot of people who partook in this stuff that were just regular people that kind of, they saw an opportunity and that they saw like, hey, we're going to beat Wall Street at their own game. and we're going to win for a change. And there were people that were like, I'm doing this because of, crippling amounts of student debt. I'm doing this to pay for a surgery. So yeah, it is kind of highlighting that story about how there were a lot of just regular people. I'm sure you knew people in your personal life. I know I sure as heck did, who used that app to buy shares of that stuff. And then they got frozen out of the app because the app was like, wait a second, regular people can't play these games. Only the anointed ones can play this game. And unless you're a big Wall Street, Wall Street hedger, you're not supposed to be allowed to do this. So yeah, that's definitely what the movie really highlights, how there were just regular people and, some other people where it's like, you don't really know what their story is. I mean, the person leading the Reddit room, and we call it Red Room in the movie, but that character is called Jack Blade. And you don't really know what that person's story is. You don't even know if they're male or female. I mean, they're just kind of how they appear in the main character, John's head. But you don't know what their deal is. They're basically a Tyler Durden type character. You don't know what the 411 on them is. But then other people are just, regular folks online who are like, yeah, I'm going to take a chance on this because I'm struggling. So, there's kind of a little bit of everything going on.
I like to review films. Hopefully someday, as we keep on growing here at our studio, we can do a real professional movie review channel. But in regards towards this film that you're working on, what was it about the Wall Street Bets story that also really made you say, like, okay, I need to tell this in film version?
Wall Street Bets, I got to make a comedy loosely based on this thing, and it's going to be great. How'd that come together?
So it's funny. It actually goes back a little further. During the pandemic, a guy reached out to me and he wanted me to write a series of scripts basically breaking down how Wall Street works. He used to be a Wall Street guy and then he got out of it and started a nonprofit. And one of his personal missions is kind of educating the public on how Wall Street really operates. Because a lot of this stuff, it's like, you know what Wall Street is, but when you think about what they really do and how they really operate, it's incredibly alarming. And there's so many messages that it's abundantly clear we never should have done this. We never should have built an economy like this. And philosophers warned against ever doing anything like this for years, and we didn't heed the warning. And so that's what we have now in the contemporary United States. And understanding it is kind of the first essential tool in trying to do something about it. That's just the reality. So he wanted to just sort of educate the public on how all this stuff works. So he hired me to write these scripts, and I wrote them. And even throughout the process, I learned a bunch of stuff that I really didn't think about. Like I learned a lot of new things, and I'm like, wow, this is mind blowing. So then when this event happened, I kind of thought, man, what a cool event that could kind of be used to kind of break this stuff down. And then it just hit me, and I just started writing the script, and I didn't want to stop, so I just kept doing it. And then when I was finished with it, I was like, we got to make this thing. So I wrote a trailer, and I made the trailer, and I was able to fund the trailer myself. I wish I had the resources to fund the movie myself. I would, but I don't. So I'm trying to get the resources to fund the rest of the movie, and that's where we're at present.
All right. Well, I'm for one, I'm very excited to see this film. Whether it's available on what platform will it be available on? Will it also be able to be seen in theaters by any chance?
I hope so. I mean, our plan. I mean, right now, step one is to just get it made and get it made as soon as we can. But then after that, we're going to try to take it the indie theater route. We're going to try to do festivals. We're going to try to get it on as many streaming platforms as we possibly can. We're definitely going to have it available as, direct purchase where like for a couple dollars, you can just get the link or whatever. We're going to want to have it available in as many ways and in as many means as possible. And also just mention on the GoFundMe, there are a lot of cool perks. For people who are able to, and interested in contributing. You can get your name listed in the credits. Everybody who gives gets a shout out on my podcast, Get Your News On with Ron, as a thank you. We're going to have a virtual screening with a Q&A with with cast members and audience members. They'll be asking the cast members. So we got a lot of really cool perks for people who are able to contribute. So please check it out. If you're able to give any money right now, give it to the mutual aid efforts going on in New Orleans. But after that, if you still have a little bit that won't hurt you and you want to see this film get made, please consider a contribution. And even if you can't, please check out the trailer anyway. Share it on your social media. Tell your friends. That really goes a long way too. And yeah, thanks for letting me plug it today.
Yeah, I just want to say that if you have any money after giving to Ron, we could definitely use whatever you have left on Patreon. Just gotta throw that out there. But yeah, this is really exciting. We're actually, as you were talking about it, FaZe was showing your GoFundMe, and I think that when we've seen a lot of people try to raise money, I think it's a very reasonable budget that you can definitely hit, and I think that it'd be really exciting to see this put into a film, and I would really like to, laugh and not be really upset while watching something of explaining how we're getting screwed over on Wall Street. I also think it's just really funny that what was the thing that's taking down Wall Street with almost no effort? Itself. Regular people having access to itself.
Yeah.
And it's about time.
It's like, what? You guys can't stand a little bit of competition? That's interesting. Okay, fine.
You guys are breaking the rules. Well, these are the rules you guys played by.
But it's a free market.
You're not allowed in.
Yeah. Hey, it's different when we do it. It's classy and well thought out, and we did some really complicated math. When you guys do it, it's shameful and just sloppy. It's just completely different.
They even had the guy who played the guy who goes by the Wolf of Wall Street comment on Wall Street bets, and I think we covered this on the show where the reporter was just fawning all over him. It's like, yeah, you're the guy from the Wolf of Wall Street, and the movie was based on you, and he was downplaying and being disrespectful to all the people of Wall Street bets. And the thing is, who knows what some of their stories are, but the vast majority that I've read on Reddit were again people who lost everything or knew people that lost everything from 2008, lost everything again, because how many recessions have we been through at this point? Enough is enough. We've been abused enough by a system that doesn't even care. And look what's happening right now. We got climate change. We got a Democratic administration that is failing with all of its promises.
We are making the stockholders
I forgot.
A lot of money right now.
They gotta have the money.
Every quarter they're really happy, and that's what life's about.
And the billionaires are fine. Right. And they're gobbling up houses, so the real estate market is doing great right now, and that bubble is for sure not going to burst. They're never going to get tired of that before. That didn't happen in 2008.
Yeah. No, would billionaires ever make a mistake at our expense that costs millions of people's their livelihood? That's unheard of. I don't believe it.
Well, and I want to say something kind of fun too. I will spill the beans on this one as far as the movie goes. You guys were saying how after the event happened, they were, everyone was reporting it that way, where basically Wall Street people were literally like, they're not supposed to do that. Only us. Only we can do that. And that's literally what the newscasts were like. And people were broadcasting this shit with a straight face, which is hysterical. So in the movie, we are going to have a spot where we're hoping that any YouTube show that is interested in participating that we're friends with, so Hard Lens Media or any other, YouTube show that I collaborate with, is going to do like an actual pre-recorded segment as if that segment happened in real life. And so we're going to have a collage of a bunch of YouTube shows doing news segments on what happened in the movie. So that's going to kind of be a fun meta thing. And it'll be a cool way for, hopefully a bunch of different channels and podcasts and shows to be on, big theaters, hopefully all around the world. So yeah, it's a really cool project that is like blending all of my, I guess my little creative quilt or whatever you want to call it. It's like merging them all into one project. Like it's merging, societal issues, and it's merging, film and comedy and scripts, and it's merging, online content. Like it's merging all of those things into one project. So.
Well, I'm going to say this. If you are interested in having Hard Lens Media do a recorded segment.
He can do a great Jim Cramer. I haven't even seen it, but I know it could happen. Just have a lot of buttons that make noise and go, this is news. By the way, one thing we've been starting to migrate towards on the show is there's no point in calling CNN and NBC and Fox or ABC, CBS news channels. Let's be real. That's not an era we're in anymore. They're just reaction channels. They're just really big reaction channels. That's all.
I would say they're PR channels.
Yeah, they're
what they
just
are
PR
is corporate
channels.
propaganda.
But you always see them.
Yeah.
It's like Anderson Cooper's like, the news just happened. I don't know what happened. Let's watch the video someone sent us. That's not our guy.
or he's at
'Cause we
Rachel
don't
Maddow.
afford people. We don't. Again, I always say, like, every time we go out on the street to record anything or fund or you just cover an event, we have a larger investigative news team than NBC.
Or he's at
Yeah,
Rachel
they
Maddow
don't put any
spewing
money
out,
into that stuff.
Yeah. Or he's at like Rachel Maddow spewing out conspiracy theories, and now here she is profiting off
Let me
these
react
same-
to the latest
same-
Russia paper.
Same conspiracy theories as always. So
Yeah.
count us in if you want to send us a link, we'll be more than happy to participate.
Oh, totally, man. I mean, yeah, we got a long way to go till we get to that point, but absolutely, everybody will be in the know when the time is here. So
Yeah, and so let's jump on. We just want to touch on something real quick because we do want to bring it up, even though it might not happen. We do want to help you if it does happen, because there is this thing called COVID that exists everywhere. But you may or may not be on tour, and I think now we can make this a little more mysterious for you. Will Ron be out and about?
yeah, I mean,
What's Graham Elwood?
obviously, we had to cancel our entire 2020 tour because of the pandemic. And now, with the Delta variant, I mean, things are a little crazy right now too. I mean, we've been able to do some live shows here and there, which is great. And, I think we'll definitely be able to do some of like the local and regional stuff. But, we're hoping to be on tour this October. But right now things are in a weird place. We haven't made any executive decisions yet, but yeah, right now things are kind of in a little bit of a weird place as far as, how possible is that going to be with numbers going up and with, especially when you're doing a different city each night.
Right.
If somebody got sick at a show in Chicago and we don't find out until a couple days later, we have already performed in several other cities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, when we scheduled 2021, we kind of thought this was going to be behind us, but it's not yet. So
I got a name
we're trying
for
to
your
figure out
tour.
what to do.
If you, it's Ron's Schrodinger's tour. There might be comedy, but you only see when you're there.
Yeah. So I mean, people can go to ronplacone.com for all those details, and of course, we will be updating everybody as things unfold in the world. But yeah, it's just a weird time, and I really thought that we wouldn't be living one day at a time anymore at this point, but we still are. And I guess all you can do is kind of accept it. And I've kind of, for the past year and a half, I've been like, well, I'm going to focus on the things that I can do instead of dwell on the things that I can't do or that are harder to do. So no matter what happens, I'm going to be working on this movie, and I'm going to be working on other projects as well. So that, is not going to, I guess, knock on wood. I guess you never know how gnarly things can get. But unless things really go off the rails, that will still be happening, and other things will still be happening no matter what. And, as far as touring goes, as soon as it is 100% safe to be out there, I can't wait to be back out there, and we'll see. Maybe that'll be this fall. Maybe it won't be, but.
Right.
We've had a small running bet, and when this is gonna clear up, and Lainey's bet was 2022, and she's probably gonna be right.
I'm almost scared to do something like that because I'm worried it'll jinx things.
Well, let's not have that.
Wait, Ron. I can tell you a lot of things about yourself, but I can guarantee you're not a god.
You don't know. No.
Yeah, where's the facts and evidence?
I'm hedging my bets on this one.
I might, you know what? I don't even believe in me, so I might be a god.
There you go. By the way, we got some people calling you out too.
Let's go through these. We got a bunch of chats that have been popping up.
So
Let's read those.
Brandon Laus, $5 says, "Hey Ron, Anarchist Farmers Unite. See you in Madison. Maybe it will happen in Madison.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully.
Be sure to check out his website."
Thank you, Brandon. And I hope to see you in Madison, if not this fall, very, very soon when it is safe to do so. And thanks for the shout out. That's actually a shout out to my first album, Agnostic Holiday. There's a joke about anarchist farmers. So,
great.
Much appreciated.
Also, we got something from Donnie Nunn. Ron, tell him about Peter Joseph. Maybe Hard Lens Media, maybe have Peter Joseph on Hard Lens Media. So who is Peter Joseph?
Oh, Peter Joseph. He made the film. Well, he made the Zeitgeist movie many, many years ago, and he also made a new movie called Inner Reflections, which is based off a book that he wrote called The New Human Rights Movement. And I suggest looking up all those things if you haven't yet. Peter's a brilliant filmmaker, very, very talented filmmaker. I actually did email him for some tips and some pointers as I am attempting my first film. But yeah, he'd make a phenomenal guest. Yeah, Peter's a really interesting guy to talk to, and he has really cool insights. And I like his podcast too. I listen to his podcast regularly. So
great.
So yeah, if you're not familiar, check him out.
Sounds very interesting.
Cool.
Here, FaZe, we got a Streamlab. Let's check that out before we check out the
Streamlab. There we go. Let's go ahead and pull that up. It's from William, $5.
This is from William, who says, I just wanted to do this because it's my first time watching the show live. FaZe rules. Thank you, William.
You rule, man.
That's spreading. Everyone praising FaZe is spreading. Now, if there's gonna be a god on this live stream right now, FaZe, because everyone tells us he rules. So there we can't argue with the audience.
Also,
who rules? FaZe rules.
FaZe is
and
genius.
I mean, he also does he can be there and then he is out of reality and then he's back. So I think that's pretty godly.
Yeah, there we go.
Brilliant.
Also, we got Roger Meadows, good friend of the show, tip $2 on the Rockfin platform. Ron, I understand you're big on net neutrality. Looking at Chattanooga, Tennessee, that has municipalized broadband fastest in the United States, and seeing Japan just introduce 319 terabyte per second broadband infrastructure across their country. Doesn't surprise me with that. I've been to Japan. Being someone who worked in the IT industry myself, have you thought of ballot initiative to go to a state triple-digit speed broadband access in California? And he also says, my bad, I left out terabyte to come after the words triple-digit in the last message. Okay.
Oh, no worries, man. Don't worry about that, because while I am big on the policies, I am not a tech guy, so you don't have to worry about that. But well, here in California, we actually have a very interesting bill going on right now where there's a proposal for a significant broadband investment. And what it would do is like the easiest way to describe it. And again, I'm not like a tech guy, but basically it would be a big spine. And like the spine would be really high quality broadband, and it would be, by the state, funded by the state. They got the money for it. They got billions set aside for it. And then basically it'd be up to communities and towns and people to connect themselves to the spine and attach themselves to said spine, which would be relatively feasible to do. And if this broadband infrastructure project goes forward, California has the chance to have some of the best broadband in the country, right up there with Chattanooga, Tennessee, which would be a huge opportunity. And I think if California got it done, I think a lot of other states would follow suit. And for anyone who's maybe not as familiar with municipal broadband, basically, the quick nuts and bolts, because I know we can't spend too much time on it, but municipal broadband is basically city-owned internet. And because big cable does such a shitty job in our internet infrastructure, because they're an organized duopoly that's just focused on profit, municipal broadband is the better way to go. And it has 100% success rate as far as being better than big cable. In parts of the United States that already have it, their people get better internet at a better price. And Chattanooga, Tennessee is one of the biggest examples of it. They're a major city that did the whole thing. So yeah. So there's definitely a number of ways to go about it. And right now, with what they got going in California, I'm trying to support that initiative to the best as I can. I'm on the EFF's email list, and they're always up to date on where those bills are at in the state Senate and so forth. If we can get that through in California, then the challenge becomes getting cities and neighborhoods connected. So,
yeah, I mean, I can only imagine that might be such a success for California. People might start moving back.
Yeah, maybe that could be.
Right. Well, now that you mentioned that part, I might have to change my mind on all this. Now I might. You said people are going to move back. I don't know how I feel about that. I want rent to go down here. So the people who have left.
Texas is really upset right now. You've seen their governor. We've been covering that every now and then as it's been popping up. He's like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything in Texas, but I'm going to stop people from voting because I might lose power.
And then, of course, you have all the propaganda fear, what's happening in California with the governor's recall. Gavin Newsom, the also fantastic favorite, everybody's favorite, or corporate media's favorite, Governor Gavin Newsom, who just constantly keeps on screwing things up.
Did you hear that if you knock out Gavin Newsom, the Republican with 20% support will win, just like Nancy Pelosi would have gotten, McCarthy replacing her? Because that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You could blame cul-de-sac progressives for running that propaganda for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm against the recall. Like, I am going to vote no on it just because the recall is such a freaking circus in California, and I'd rather beat Newsom straight up in 2022 with a better candidate. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I'm a definite no vote on it because the way the recall works in California, it just becomes a political circus. Like, it's you vote on whether or not you want the recall, and then you just get this ballot. I mean, I already got mine. There's just like 50 names on this sheet of paper. It's not a real election, so nobody knows who like 90% of these people are. And then it's just whoever just bought the media, whoever just bought their way into press attention, which in this case is either going to be Larry Elder or Caitlyn Jenner. One of them's just going to become governor. And then what I think would happen is, first of all, you just gave a huge gift, not just to Republicans, but you gave a huge gift to Democrats too, because they are going to fundraise like hell on, oh man, if California has a Republican governor, oh my God, the gravy train for Democrats is going to roll like hell, and they know it. And you know how I know they know it? Because on the recall text that Gavin Newsom's campaign is sending out, they're encouraging people not to vote for a replacement. They're saying vote no on the recall and then leave question 2 blank. If you leave question 2 blank, it's for sure that either Larry Elder or Caitlyn Jenner is going to get in. That's for sure going to happen. And they know that.
Wow.
So they're basically subtly being like, you either let our boy keep his gig, or we hope you get a Republican, because then we're going to be able to fundraise off of that baby. Then what's going to happen in 2022 is that the Democrats, with their huge, huge fundraising dollars, they're going to run the most conservative Democrat they can get away with, which will be to the right of Gavin Newsom, because they're going to say, we just got to get rid of Larry Elder or Caitlyn Jenner. Look at what they're doing. And of course, they're going to be doing terrible things. And that's what will happen. And then we'll probably get a right-wing Democrat in 2022 who will just carry on most of the things that the Republicans started. So as much as I dislike Gavin Newsom, I dislike the idea of giving a gift to Nestle and the Republican Party and the Democrat establishment. I dislike that even more. I'd rather see the guy have to govern for another year where he's scared shitless about losing his job, because he's scared shitless about losing his job now. And because of that, he's finally rejecting fracking permits instead of approving them. Because of that, he found billions of dollars for broadband infrastructure all of a sudden. I guess it was just in a couch cushion. Because of that, he actually has plans, and he's actually setting aside money to combat the wildfires that we have and to deal with the oncoming drought. So I'm no fan of Gavin Newsom, but I think the way to beat him is with a better candidate in 2022, not through this circus recall. So I am a no vote on the recall.
Wow,
There you have it, everyone. That was a good explanation.
Yeah, and I think it's very also important to point out, especially with broadband infrastructure. Look, we've seen other countries successfully do it, like South Korea, like Japan.
Oh, yeah.
It's long overdue that the United States has this as well. I also want to bring up...
Look, how could America possibly use communist internet to get everyone connected? That's a terrible idea.
Also, we got a comment from Christian Gomez, good friend of the show. Ron, are we going to blaze one again at your live show? Well, question mark. I'm sure you remember me from Nebraska with my girlfriend, LOL. I don't know, Ron, do you remember blazing up with Christian Gomez?
Oh, yeah. Do you remember when you're in Nebraska, you specifically remember this person and their girlfriend?
No, I do actually. It was in Omaha, Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska's not a state I play all the frickin' time. So I do remember I was in Omaha, and it was a cool little space actually. It was this small indie theater. We had a really fun time there. And afterwards, I smoked out with a younger couple, or at least younger than me. Christian, I know you're younger than me. And if I remember correctly, your girlfriend had no idea who I was, and I think you just kind of you dragged her to the show, which is totally cool. But yeah, she was just kind of sitting there, and she's like, "Okay, boys," and we just spoke to Joint, and it was very lovely, and I thank you.
I gotta say, I envy that you have a memory like that, and I envy further that you have one while high like that.
That's actually pretty cool right there. So Christian Gomez, then maybe, kind of, sort of, could happen if the show still goes on. Be sure to follow Ron Placone's website.
We're not hitting Omaha this time around, but I'm sure we'll we'll cross paths sometime in the future. It always happens.
All right.
Someday, some things happen.
Final question. Wait. We got a chat in Rockfin. Let's postpone what I was going to say.
All right. Roger Meadows, tip $2. Spine, yes, we call that an internet backbone in the industry. Cool. Make sure you build towards the future. It must be Terra. You don't want to be finished years from now, and that speed is outdated. True on that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, all we built was a gigabyte network and made everyone's lives better. But like, it's funny. The kid's been telling me about Japan. It's like they don't like wait for their bullet trains to fall apart. They're like, hey, we have a new model that's like 60 miles faster. Let's just rebuild the entire infrastructure to accommodate it.
That was crazy. In fact, when I was on one of their bullet trains, I remember talking to one of my relatives. He was saying, yeah, this train's outdated. They're going to make some faster ones. I'm like, oh, that sounds nice. And then when I come back from Japan, here I am on the blue line to CTA, and talk about a major downgrade. It's like, wow, it's got something from years ago.
It's amazing. Well, it's incredible. Like, we don't even have efficient subways here in LA. You know, I mean, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It is better. Like people make it out like there's no public transportation in LA. That's not actually true. But for as big of a city as it is, even compared to like Chicago or New York or Boston, we are so far behind. And then when you see these bullet trains in other countries, and it's like California is the 5th largest GDP in the world, and we don't have a speed rail from San Francisco to San Diego. It's freaking nuts.
Wow. Hey, but the Koch brothers are making more money, and that's the way that it should work. Or, I'm sorry, Koch brother. My bad.
Yeah, because now there's one brother. They're both gone. Oh, well, one of them's gone now.
Well, you know, it's funny. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee a couple years back, and at the time, the city was growing very fast. It still is. And they had an opportunity to get this this transportation solution called, I think it was called the AMP or something like that. I forget the exact name, because this would have been in like 2014 or 15. And it was a huge opportunity for the city. It really would have helped with traffic and with growth. And people voted it down. And they voted it down because the Koch brothers spent so much freaking money on all these anti-campaigns against it, all because they didn't want to see their profits go down with all their oil and gas investments. They didn't want to see less cars on the road. So they spent all this money to defeat it, and they did. And, you know, a couple of years ago, I moved out of Nashville for unrelated reasons, but, you know, now that city, like, traffic is like 10 times worse than what it was, and all of this could have been, I don't want to say totally prevented, because when a city grows, it grows, and that's just what happens, and traffic gets a little worse. But it could have been handled much better, and they just chose not to because of Koch propaganda. People who don't live there, people who aren't going to have to live with the effects, and it's just, it's quite a failed state we live in.
Absolutely.
It looks like we got one more chat we're going to read, and then we'll wrap this up. This has been great.
Exactly. So before I read this chat, the last question I do want to ask you is where people can go online to find you on social media, especially with your GoFundMe and any other projects that you are working on. But first, this comment here from a viewer, Mir Fayor, who says, fast food businesses are so desperate for employees that some are giving out $750 to $1,500 stimulus.
Whoa!
I mean, signing
everyone
bonus
on CNN and on the business channels and NBC that like businesses they would catch on fire if that ever happened, if the government made it happen. But it looks like under their own volition they're doing. I don't believe it.
Yeah, who knows?
Well, it's so funny when they try to make, you know, the corporate media tries to spin this thing like we have a labor shortage. And all I need to do is just look at my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania as an example. Recently, there were a bunch of people who just straight up walked out of a Burger King. They were just like, we're done, and they just walked out. And people aren't applying for these ridiculous minimum wage jobs all across the country. An ice cream shop a couple neighborhoods over in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, advertised that they were going to start pay. Their starting wage was $15 an hour, which still isn't high enough in my opinion, but it's at least better than where most places are at. So they're starting at $15 an hour. They got a record number of applicants, a record number ever in the history of their ice cream shop existing. And they've been around for a very, very long time. They're an OG ice cream place. So we don't have a labor shortage. We have a living wage shortage.
Absolutely. So I think final question, where can people go online to find you on social media so they can support your work, your projects, and whatever else you have coming up in the future? Because I think now more than ever, I definitely want to see this film come out, Left at the Wall.
Left at Wall.
Left at Wall. So
Yeah,
let's make it happen.
Definitely see if we can put together some sort of viewing party for it in Chicago.
I'd love that. Yeah. Maybe
maybe
we'll
at the
do
new
a
studio.
viewing
There we go.
Yeah, in your all's new studio, we can do a viewing when it's time. That I would love that, man. Chicago is one of my favorite towns. Not my favorite kind of pizza. I don't want to.
Whoa, man, you're in the start of a war right here. We're doing so well.
No dice. Chicago has 3 different types of pizza, right?
I do understand that, and I was, when it comes to pizza, I'm very much like a I love it all type guy. Like I feel weird saying what that one pizza is better than another, because it's like they're just so different. How do you say one is better or one is worse? Like that's just too hard to do.
Chicago's
in my opinion.
wholesome.
I see the PR you're playing here.
Chicago is wholesome. We got 3 different choices. It's more democratic. It's democracy.
I don't know, man. Here's the thing, man. I will occasionally crave some Chicago deep dish. So, like, when I'm craving that, that's what I freaking want. But other times, I'm craving, like, a New York slice, and that's what I want. So, like, as far as my favorite, I can't say, like, I have a favorite or one is better than the other, but I can say, Chicago style is not my personal favorite that I crave the most often.
It's nice to keep you warm at night. It's the pizza. I would say if you want to try some of our other really good specialty places, and I've only learned about a few of them recently myself, is our tavern style, which is actually, I think, our better pizza style.
Is that where you put like raw cheese, or not raw cheese, but like non-melted cheese on top of the melted
that's
cheese?
Not it.
Okay.
No, that's not it at all.
Tavern style is a super thin crust, very crunchy. It really goes good if you're out drinking beer and you want a really nice pizza. That's a good one. And then one that actually Lainey has introduced us to, pizza pot pies, which are like deep dish, but like
pot pies,
but small, like a pot pie style.
Yeah.
So pot pie
Now
size.
that I've not. I mean, I've had like the Inside Out pizzas in Philly. Like I've had those before, where it's like the sauce is on top of it. Those are fun. And then I've had Chicago deep dish. My favorite. I mean, I'm from Pennsylvania originally, so my favorite is kind of that style, which is basically like. It's basically like if New York and, more Midwestern styles like merged, and a lot of the crusts are sourdough because pretzels are so freaking big where I'm from. So it's like a sourdough crust, and it's like thick, but the slices are still really big. And that's my personal favorite because in my opinion, that's like the best of all worlds, So that's like my favorite style of pizza. And, I live in Los Angeles, which is not known for having the greatest pizza in the world, and that's fair. But
you guys got good tacos.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
And also,
we'll concede to
I
that.
live in Little Italy now, though, so I do have some pretty good options near me. So yeah.
There we go. And we all know you and Jimmy Dore definitely have your back and forth in Italian. So there we go.
Yeah. Every now and again that happens. Yeah. That's a good time. He'll like look up stuff to say, like right beforehand, and then say it. I do speak it. I need to practice more, and I use the Duolingo app, so that helps some. But to answer your question on where people can find me,
yes, exactly. We went off topic.
I'm at Ron Placone on Twitter. I'm at Ron Placone on all the socials, Instagram, and I'm even on TikTok, and I'm trying to get better at it. So feel free to follow me on TikTok, just Ron Placone. You can find Left at Wall, my movie trailer. It is my pinned tweet on Twitter. You can also find it on my YouTube channel, which please subscribe to me. It's just Ron Placone over on YouTube, or if you're on Rockfin, it's just Ron Placone over there. You can find the movie trailer in both those places. Or if you want to go directly to GoFundMe, you can go to GoFundMe.com, type in Left at Wall. That's the movie name, Left at Wall, and it will come up as the first thing that comes up. If you're able to contribute, that's amazing, and there are all kinds of cool perks. Be sure to check those out. But even if you're not, please like it, please share it. And you can go to ronplacone.com. That's my website for any and all tour dates. Due to the Delta variant, things are in a weird place right now, but we're kind of taking it one day at a time. And we'll definitely, touring is a big part of what I do. So when it's safe to be back out there, I will be. If not this fall, definitely soon. So
Outstanding.
Finally, we got one last chat FaZe can read from William. What do we got?
William says, middle of the road, Ron Placone, Chicago pizza rules.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a scientific fact, and it's just how it is.
I think that it's like and to be real, like we eat deep dish every now and then. It's not a daily pizza that you go around. It's something that you do seek out. But like I gotta say, like if I'm looking for a good New York style pizza and I really want to get the authentic thing, I just go to Costco and they hook me up.
There you go. Get that Costco connection. Costco all the way.
There you go, man. Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, it's when I lived in Seattle, my favorite pizza place was actually this Chicago style place. Because that's another city that, I mean, you can find good stuff, but it's not necessarily what they're known for up there. But there was this Chicago style place from a dude that grew up in Chicago South Side. And it was just the best quality place near me. So I ate the most Chicago style pizza when I lived in Seattle, which is probably a sentence that not many people say.
No, I think that's beautiful.
But,
What I will say is, because I have a lot of family from Philly, cheesesteak is just a tiers better than our Italian beef. Like there's no question.
Oh yeah, that's true.
See, my wife really loved the Italian beef when we were out in Chicago. She really? She's not,
my goodness.
And she did not really care for deep dish that much because she's not. She's very careful with carbs. Like we're kind of different in that regards. She counts her carbs. I count the hours until I can eat carbs again. But so we're different. But yeah, she like deep dish was not really her speed. But the Italian beef, she really freaking loved. So
I'm glad she liked it. It's good to have people. But like, yeah, it's like for me, there's this kind of local chain that's like similar to what you're talking about with Seattle called Philly's Best, and just like introduced Kit to that a while ago. It's like that stuff's good.
Exactly. Like Philly cheesesteaks, phenomenal. It's against our beef steak sandwiches here that we got. I mean,
I know we create enemies every time we say that, but that's okay.
Well, I feel like y'all are more creative in Chicago with that. I mean, in Philly, it's very much like like bare bones, simple. It's like you either have onions or you don't, and it's just the meat and the whiz, and that's it. You guys have that. What's that? It's not a dressing. It's kind of like a vegetable type thing. It's not peppers, but it's like that thing with like the small cauliflower and the carrots, and it's like flavored.
What was that face?
What is that stuff? It's real popular in Chicago.
Jardinero,
yeah. Y'all got, and I like that. I really do. I enjoy that a lot. So
it's good. I mean, it's like one thing I always say is we literally have a whole quote unquote beef going with Convo Couch continuously on the very subject of
there is a peace treaty.
Yeah. There's a peace treaty. We've signed a peace treaty, and I love discussing things that mean ultimately the least, but have the most passion on them. But I think that it's like. Pizza is amazing. And it's like, what do they say? Every pizza, even a bad pizza, is a good pizza. And the fact that we have so many options of pizza, I think is wonderful. I like the idea of get a New York style, use it as a coaster for your deep dish, and then top that with your like some smaller pizzas and just go to town.
Don't forget the Chicago style hot dog too.
Yeah, what's the deal with those? That's just like they're just really big, right?
Oh, you'll like this story. Okay, so Chicago dogs were created during the Depression because it was one of the best value meals you could get at the time. It was a hot dog with a salad on top of it, and they would sell it for 5 cents, and that was the Chicago dog, but it's a Depression dog.
Yeah,
in Pittsburgh, where I'm from. The big thing is there's this place, and there's a number of places that do it, but the most like famous one is a place called Permanis, which if you're ever in Pittsburgh and I'm there, there's some sandwiches that are higher up as far as my favorites go. Although Permanis is very good too, but their big thing is they put the French fries and the coleslaw on the sandwich, like fries are on the sandwich, and the reason behind it, I mean, it just became a thing. But the big reason behind it was like, Pittsburgh is on the way like to so many places, and it kind of connects the East Coast and the Midwest in many ways, kind of like Chicago too, but it's a little closer to the coast. So a lot of truck drivers and people working, on the road and stuff, they wanted to just be able to eat while they were driving. So they started just putting the fries and the slaw on the sandwich, so it was just easier for them to just eat. and it just became a thing.
I think I can speak for everyone
here. There's a few places in the city that'll do that exactly the way you're describing it.
I think I can speak for everyone here that this conversation is probably making a lot of people hungry right now.
Yeah, it's around dinner time where y'all are at, and so yeah, it's showing. I know where you're at. It's like 6 something, so you're all probably pretty hungry.
Did you insinuate a little earlier that you're a faster?
I'm a what?
A faster. You said you wait till you can eat carbs again.
Oh, I'm not actually. I just I'll try not to like eat too many carbs after like dinner. Basically, I try to do that. My favorite snack is pretzels. I freaking love pretzels. So I gotta be careful with that. Like I'll try if I'm like watching TV or something, I'll try to like maybe have a piece of fruit instead, or just not eat, if it's later at night. So usually like I try to just carb load once a day and then stay away from it for the rest of the day. Like I'll try to have like maybe a big bowl of pasta like around lunch, or like rice or something like that. 'Cause I love it. Yeah. It's not good for me, but I freaking love it. And someday we're all going to be dead. Yeah. So
yes, that is
I
true.
like it. But I try to be a little mindful of it. I don't always succeed at that task, but I do try. So
I gotta say I've been converted into being a faster for a little over a year, and it's nice because you don't have to restrict yourself when you can eat. So I only eat for 8 hours a day. So I actually don't have dinner. It's like a thing that doesn't exist in my diet anymore. I just have a breakfast and a lunch, but I can have whatever I want when that happens. It's you get an app. You always want to get an app. I use the Zero app for it, but I was gonna say if you haven't tried it, and maybe you want to try something else, that's something to consider.
So I have tried it, and when I did it, I mean, hey, everyone's different, man. And when I did it, I gained weight because there was that 8 hours where I'm like, I could do anything I want. And then after that 8 hours was over, I was just like, alcohol doesn't count. So I gained weight.
Well, I think that might be your problem right there, is that alcohol is very caloric.
If I'm being honest with you, there were a number of problems for me, but it works for some people. But for me, I was just like, this cupcake is totally fine. It's in my 8 hours. So I was eating way worse than I would have. I was like, it's better if I just don't do this thing and then like try to eat better.
Either way, like you said, I'm glad that you got something that is working out.
Yeah.
It's working, I guess. I don't know. We try.
All right.
Well, that sounded very confident, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I think as we end this segment, because we do have to wrap things up here at our old studio as we're shutting down shop, I have to say it's been a real privilege to have you on our show. And here's hoping that you are in the city when we're operating at our new studio location. You're more than welcome to hang out there, Ron Placone. And, if we can, let's also do a video watch of the movie.
I'm real excited for this movie you got going.
It's really exciting. I'm happy for it.
If you haven't already checked it out, go check out the trailer. Go check out the. I want to not screw it up. It's what we're funding it off of. It's
GoFundMe left at wall.
There you go. Yeah. Check it out. Let's make this thing happen. Yeah, that's about it.
Live and direct. Ron Placone, again, someone who speaks truth to power, doesn't hold anything back, and lives with 4 different political roommates. Can't wait to see what kind of adventures they'll be on. I think for a little twist of a story, maybe there'll be one episode where the libertarian has to care about things and has to get his other 3 roommates to actually care too.
Well, he's passionate about some things. He's the only one who like is a musician and stuff. So he has, there are little things where like something like that has happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I like that. That's a cool
Hey,
concept.
guys, will you come to my performance to make it look like people care? No. What if I pay you $20? Okay.
No, I was more thinking like he sees like a river dam or an oil pipeline leaking, and he's trying to get his other 3 roommates to be like, hey, look, I don't care about things, but maybe maybe we should do something about this.
Sees the oil link and goes, that's America. Beautiful. Look at that.
Well, I was thinking it'd be funny if he like has a show and it's like they like he says it's $5 at the door, but then he's like he has a moral conflict because he's like, well, the free market should decide the price. So he's like,
oh no, even more libertarian. It's he sees that same oil pipeline, beautiful, that's amazing. Then he has his own music performance, and somehow an oil pipeline bursts right next door. This is unforgivable. You can't have a thing burst. This is getting in the way of my performance. I can't let the free market decide how it's worth way less now, guys. Come on.
Who knows? But I'm looking forward to what
like
adventures
it.
they'll get on.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. It is a fun series. We have a good time with it.
The libertarians are a very interesting, fun people. Like we literally just got invited to do an interview with one of them recently. I sent you that email.
Yes, I got that email right now. So that should be something that we're working on once our new studio set up. We'll have new guests on,
Well,
and
I will
we
say
invite
this,
everyone
too,
to be
as-
on our show.
Yeah, I will say this is a small aside, just because we got on that topic. It's funny how, there's Republican, Democrat, Green, and Libertarian. And, everyone gets made fun of. It makes fun of everybody. And Libertarians and Greens have, like, the most sense of humor about it. Like, they get the biggest kick out of it. And I get, like, Green is the most likable character. So like, I understand how, like Greens would kind of like it, because, like, his big thing is, like, he's just kind of, he's out there and does drugs and stuff. So he's a caricature as well, but he is a very likable one, whereas, like, the rest of them aren't quite as likable. But typically it's like Greens and Libertarians that get the biggest kick out of it. And if anybody gets offended by it, which I think is pretty hard to do, to get offended by such a thing. But the people that do are usually Republicans and Democrats.
Oh yeah,
Of
they
course
got, they
they
got
do.
the
It's like,
pride
you
to
got
wear
all
that.
the power. What more do you want? You get a freaking iPhone sketch is pissing you off? Really?
Hey, but Starbucks doesn't have as much Christmas ornamentation. We're under attack. Also, stop being a snowflake.
Family values. There we go. All right. Thank you so much, Ron Placone, for being on our show. Again, be sure to support his work. This film is, again, called Left at Wall. He also has a GoFundMe. Please be sure to follow him on Twitter, Instagram, and all platforms of social media, especially on Rockfin and YouTube as well. Now more than ever, we need more people speaking truth to power. Ron, take good care of yourself, and you're more than welcome to be back on our show anytime. Take good care, my friend.
Thanks so much, and congratulations, guys.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.